Life is sweet. Let it sweep you off your feet.
Hi, it's Sally with Find Your Joy. I'm going to get started about this show that's about to be today, and I'm really excited about it. First, I'm going to remember to say, please like and subscribe. I'm supposed to do that, apparently. I don't know. I really suck at marketing, but I'm quite a nice person. So today I'm excited because I have a fabulously wonderful healer and energy worker and all-around lovely person. Rhonda Bruce is, she has her own business, and it is called Balanced Energy Wellness Drumming and Qigong. She does healing drum circles. She does Qigong, medical Qigong. She does all of these things, and it's really quite fabulous. And we are going to hear all about that in just a few moments. Rhonda, hello and welcome.
Hello, Allie. Thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh, I'm so happy to have you today. I've been the recipient of your drum circle. So maybe we'll kind of start there a little bit. I'm like, oh my gosh, where do I start? I met you. Well, first of all, we'd seen each other online lots as people do that are sort of in the same circles. And then I was invited to a drum circle on a beach. And I just thought, a drum circle on a beach, that's going to be in public. What do I think about that? And off I went. I hauled myself and off I went. And I come, and here you are with these incredible drums to choose from. And we were out on the beach and the sun was setting. And how in the world did you get started? Like, what made you go and do something like that?
Oh, wow. So that was super awesome. Oh my goodness, that was a beautiful experience.
Right?
I love when we get to drum outside. How did I get started? I am giving all the credit to my youngest son, Michael. He started playing the djembe in school, and he was 15 years old, and they were doing African drumming in his school. And my kids are both musicians and have, lots of guitars like you do hanging in on your wall, and which I love. And yeah, Mike said, Mom, can I buy a drum? I said, of course. So he bought a drum and I'd hear him play. And then I went to their spring concert and something happened to me. I heard this group of drummers and I can't even explain what happened, but something happened. And I left there going, I have to find a drum circle. I don't know anything about this, but I have to do this.
Right.
So I Googled and I found a drum circle in Calgary, which was about a half hour away from where I lived. And I started going every Friday night, or as many Fridays as I could.
Right.
And it changed a lot for me. It was a magical experience, and going every week made such a difference for me on many levels. And once I started going regularly for a while, something told me that I should start facilitating, which was scary. It was very, very scary.
Yeah, because to go from that, I'm going to back up just a little bit. Can we, because sometimes, I think about this, right? So somebody's listening right now, and you're saying that it was magical. It touched you so deeply. It did all these things on all these different levels. If it's okay, can we unpack that a little bit? Because someone might be listening and they're going, I don't even, I mean, for those of us who know, we know, but I always try to imagine, okay, if someone's listening right now, they have no idea what this is about. Maybe share a little bit about what does that look like for you when you say it felt magical, or there was these different levels, or it impacted you? what does that look like?
Well, first of all, and that's a really good question. I've never thought about it. So I'm going to try to think about that. I'm
Yeah.
going to take myself back in time.
Yes, yes, yes. Go in the
And
TARDIS. I'm a Doctor Who nerd. Okay. Never mind.
gonna go back. First of all, it was hearing them. It was the sound of all these drums coming together collectively.
Mm,
And so that's different in a way than what I do, but they had learned a piece, right? Like a musical piece that they were playing. But the sound of them together and something, it happened internally. And it did something to my body. I had a
right.
physical reaction, right? So, and then I just was like, wow, like it felt like joyful. Like it was like, wow. Yeah, it was a very cool experience. And I just, it made me want more.
Right.
I wanted more of that. I
Right.
wanted more of that feeling that I felt watching them and hearing them and that physical feeling that came over me.
I love that. And I love that it makes sense to me that you didn't have a bunch of language for it or an explanation, but what you recognized was something happened in not probably in your mind and your heart and how it felt lovely and all of that, but something connected in your body.
Oh
I
yeah.
love that. I just did a my own podcast on my own podcast about sound, about the sound healing that I do. And I
Yeah.
and I and I I recognize that is that at first there's these things that start to happen. You've been doing this for so many years now that how you might describe that now and what you might understand about it could be different, but that you recognized that something shifted inside of you and you pursued it. Okay,
Oh
carry
yeah.
on. So excited.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I just remember walking out of that gymnasium going, I have to do this.
Yeah.
And I have to have this experience. And I didn't know what that would look like. I'd never been to a drum circle. I had no idea. I just Googled drumming Calgary and up came this drum circle. So I thought, yeah, okay, well, let's go see what that's all about. And I was a little nervous and I was a little perhaps intimidated even because I didn't know anything about it. All I knew was what I'd heard my son doing at home and in their concert, right? So I didn't know what I was walking into. Um, and as I entered this experience, and it was an experience. There were people there that I didn't know, but man, my heart was looking for those people,
Right.
right? Um, I just remember walking in this wonderment. It was so much. There were different drums, and that was, I had just seen African drums. So now I'm seeing frame drums and tabanos and drum, and I was like, well, I don't know. Yeah, this is foreign to me. And they were so welcoming, so welcoming. It was then probably, if I was to guess, about 30-ish people. Now my understanding is they're upwards of 200 on a weekly basis, like thereabouts. It's pretty powerful. And their venue was a circle. And so it was kind of like it had like the the lighting and people wearing interesting clothing and like just it was just so it was like I'd entered a different world. And
Yes.
when I heard, and they guided me, and just said, pick a drum that you think you might want to try. And I knew nothing but the African drum. So I thought, okay, I'll take this, because then I could maybe talk to my son about it, right? Have that commonality. So I did, and magic happened that night. Yeah, it was to just, and I didn't know anything. I didn't know how to play. I I knew nothing. I didn't know. I just grabbed this drum, sat in a chair, and followed what the facilitator told us to do, and just did. And there were times when I could just do whatever I wanted to do. And it became this very awesome experience that when I left, and I was buzzing, like, and I still get that. I still buzz after. It's this energy that comes over you, this physiological thing that happens. And you're feeling so good, and science backs that up. Something it happens in our bodies, it raises our vibrations, it makes us feel joy. And I walked out of there, I was just like, whoop, life is good.
Yes, yes. Oh my gosh. And so how did it look when you first started doing your own like, were you, and I'm skipping around a bit here, so were you already studying Qigong, medical Qigong and stuff? That was already part of your practice
Yeah.
and part of what you were doing. So this
Yeah.
was just an
Yeah.
expansion, and you were already learning about this and understanding it and practicing it. And now all of a sudden, okay, so I'm going to start to do this drum circle thing. And
Mm.
how did that start for you in terms of what was your first drum circle like that you facilitated? How
Oh
was
my
that?
goodness. That was very unique. A very, even to this day, and I've done a lot of different drum circles in many different places over the years. It was in a yoga studio,
Mm.
and it was a friend of mine in Calgary owned this yoga studio, and Jem's shop. And so yeah, that's he invited me, and that's what I did. That was my first one. My ex-husband was there. He helped me bring in the drums, and I was so nervous. What was I gonna do? Like, could I remember everything? Right? Could I remember
Yeah,
everything?
right.
And I just, I don't remember a lot of that drum circle, I think for a few different reasons, but I just remember afterwards, my husband said he was so proud of me. So I must have done something good.
Yeah. Well, there's the different layers of it. I'm just going to imagine, having been at drum circles that you do before, who you naturally are is you're kind, you're loving, you're open, you're welcoming. So there would be, I get it. And so this is sort of, I don't know if this is, I don't know what this is, but I'm just going to start chatting about this, and maybe we'll join in and have an actual conversation. I'm not sure, but here's what I find, like doing, whether I'm playing music like with a band or something like that, or if I'm doing a vibrational sound therapy session with my gongs and my bowls and all that, I have found, and that the minute I start to think about it, it all comes, the wheels come off the bus. Like
Yeah.
I'm present, and I'm in the, I realize, I recognize that I'm in the way then of what's happening. If I can disengage, a friend of mine who I've played in bands with over the years, we were talking about this as musicians in bands, that you know, you're just cooking, the band's smoking, everything's happening. It's just great. Everyone's having a fabulous time. And then the moment that you notice that and you start to think, whoa, this is awesome. Oh my gosh, what did I do that for? Because,
Yeah.
you know, whether it's ego becomes involved or I don't even, there's, you know, many ideas about what that might be. But the moment I start to think about it, when I engage my mind over my heart and my spirit and my body and the energy that's happening, everything can kind of, and I know myself right in the middle of, I was going to ask you about this, if it works for this. I'm going to guess that it does, but if I'm doing a sound bath, whether that's with a group of people or by, you know, with one individual client, and the moment I start to think about what should I be doing next, now I can actually get suspended in that place of what?
Yep.
What am I? And I have to do this. This is my little mantra to myself. I'm doing nothing but extending love. This isn't about me. Get out of the way. And I have to, sometimes I need to literally remind myself of that, because if I think this isn't, well, I was going to say it's not math, but it kind of is. How is that with you? Do you have those experiences as well? And how do you process that if you do?
I don't know that I've had those experiences. I may have.
Right.
One thing with facilitating drumming is I have to be present. And one thing with drumming, you have to be present, because I can't think about what I'm doing later that day or the next day or an upcoming road trip or anything like that, because I will lose my rhythm. So drumming keeps us present,
Yeah.
right? So I do things, yeah, I do certain things, and I've done it for a long time, and I just go with it, right? But I feel what's going on. And sometimes I'll have an intention. Oh, I was gonna do that. And then we're done, and I was like, oh, I forgot I was gonna do that. But it wasn't meant to happen that time, right? And I've gone in with the best plan, like that I thought, okay, I've got this. And if I can share, this was probably one of the first drum circles I did, maybe the second or third. And I was invited to someone's home. They had a son living with Down syndrome who had graduated from Mount Royal University. And they were having a backyard celebration for him. And so this was exciting. And I had a plan. I wrote things out. And okay, so as I'm driving to the northwest part of Calgary, I'm seeing dark clouds, and I'm thinking, oh, whoa, wait a minute, we're in the backyard. This is an outdoor event. Oh boy, what's going to happen? Well, I guess we're going to see what's going to happen. So I get there, drums are outside. Okay, we're in the backyard. Well, guess what? It started to rain, and I'm like, yeah, we can't do this outside. We got to get inside. So the host has to move things, and we probably had, I would say, 12 to 15 young adults living with Down syndrome. And so they created this space in their home. So now I'm new at facilitating. My plan of being outdoors, we've had to shift, right? Let's go indoors. Okay, fine. So I've still got a plan though. And well, we'll just say I learned that day that I could think on my feet.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I threw my plan out the window, because whatever I had thought I was going to do wasn't happening. It was not happening. And I just went with the group. And I ended up talking to them, creating rhythm. I asked each individual, we'll drum our names, we'll drum, what do you like to do? What's an activity? What do you like to eat? Then we got into foods. Everyone likes talking about food, right? And then, and I don't know where this came from, but I received this message to invite the person we were honoring who had graduated. And I invited them to come up and facilitate. And I gave them guidance. And
I love it.
he shone, like he was beaming, and mom and dad and people are taking pictures and videotaping, and the friends loved that he was doing it. And then I didn't know when I drove up that day that that's what I was gonna do. I had no idea.
Right.
I don't even know where that came from. That wasn't part of my training, but something happened and I got this message and I went with it. And that day I learned to feel the group, to just go with it.
Yes.
And that's what I do.
Oh, I love that. And I love that. I mean, there's intuition, and then there's remembering to listen to the intuition, because we can get, it's, some people say, well, I can't really do that because I don't have that. I'm like, you do.
Yeah.
We all do. It's sometimes it's whether or not we feel okay to listen to it and to follow that. Because I get it. If you follow it and you think you're going to fall on your face, well, then that's all right. Then maybe you fall on your face, and then we see what happens after that. I love that happens that way. And so sometimes you blend the drumming and Qigong. Is that like, or is that something that, like, how do those work together, or do they never work together? Or is it something you do separately? How does that all go?
I think I take components of the Qigong. So my drum circles, I do different kinds of drum circles. So like I did that graduation celebration, right? I've done retreats, I've done conventions. If I'm doing retreats, I might do, we'll do Qigong and then we do a drum circle. I do one in Maple Ridge where I call it a mini retreat. So it's like 4 hours and we have a break in between. But what evolved was the meditation soundscape that I add to my drum circles. So I call those ones healing community drum circles and a meditation soundscape. And you've had that experience. And that, I do a short little meditation with it. And that kind of came from Qigong, or it was inspired by the Qigong component. So they're not like, I don't do specific Qigong movements in the drum circles. I don't do that. But I would say that the meditation for the soundscape was inspired by Qigong. And I do talk about the light, the ball of light, and moving that ball of light. And so that is from Qigong. Yeah.
Right. And the blend. I love it when someone has, so many different teachings and different experiences and stuff, and you integrate them into each thing that you're doing. So what do you have coming up? Because I know that you've got, I'm on Vancouver Island, and I know that you've got something coming up there with the amazing folks from Funky Town in Saanich. So when is that happening?
That is Sunday, September 22nd. Solstice, autumn solstice.
Oh my gosh, that's going to be wonderful. And so you travel, you do Vancouver Island, you do the Lower Mainland, you travel to Alberta. Like those are sort of regular, like
Yep.
this circle? I mean,
Yep.
is there places that you go to do this?
Okanagan, yeah,
Okay.
Okanagan. So typically in the Okanagan, Kamloops and Vernon, I have been to Kelowna, but not for a while.
Right?
Calgary, Lethbridge, Strathmore. I do have a group called the Airdrie Abilities Association, which is a beautiful association for adults living with disabilities. I've been doing drum circles with them for quite a few years, and they are always excited when I'm coming back there and have me there. So I go up into the Airdrie area as well, and yeah.
Wow. And you also go into senior centers
Oh, yeah, I do a
and
lot of
do a
that.
lot. I mean, so
I do.
so you have been able to take this and to open up space and to open up so many things for my dog is going a little crazy here. I'm just going
Hi,
to
Sammy.
you've been able to open up so much for so many people who maybe otherwise wouldn't have those opportunities, and you just have that way about you that's so welcoming and it's you make things easy.
Oh, thank
You
you.
make them so easy to do.
Thank you.
That's yeah, I just really appreciate that about you. Oh my gosh, is there anything that we have not touched on? We'll have to, oh my, okay, is there anything that we have not touched on that you would love to share?
That I would love to share. Energy healing, energy healing. Yeah. I started balanced energy wellness in 2012 because of energy healing. That was the start of it. I became a Reiki Master. I got the Reiki Master level in 2009, and kind of, I guess, and then I thought I was working in schools at that time. And then I thought, you know what, I want to do something with this. So I started to help myself and my family, and then went wanting to help others.
Right.
And so then I started balanced energy wellness to do energy healing treatments. And then I went to Qigong, and then I went to drum circles. And I've recently, very recent, added a new modality that I'm super excited about.
Oh,
Yeah,
is that something you're going to share with us today?
I can if you want,
Oh,
sure.
always. I would always love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, it's called the Global Energy Method. So it's a new modality. I'm still going through the process. It's a year-long program. But I have completed the first module, and we use software. But it is about clearing emotions and, well, energies. So clearing internal energies, outer energies, is where I'm at right now. So I finished the core certification part of it, and going into another part of it. But yeah, that's exciting. And what I love about it is we all have stuff, whether it's inherited, right? So we pick up energies. We picked up energies when we were in the womb, right? So we have inherited in our DNA strain. We picked up some prenatally. We pick up, if we're empaths, Lord knows we are picking up stuff everywhere, right? Everywhere. It's like going to grocery store, clear, clear, clear.
Yes, yes,
And
exactly.
hospitals, which, I've had to be in too many recently in the last few months with my mom, and, yeah, so that, that energy of being in the hospital, right? So I want to clear that off. But we absorb energies. We absorb it through the TV, through music we listen to, video games. So we have internal, outer energies. And what we're doing is working on clearing them and going through subconscious stuff and clearing and filling. And then when you clear, you want to fill that space, right? Yeah. So,
I love that. It's interesting. In my book, I actually have a section when I talk about guarding the gates, and I talk about just that, about all the ways that we bring in things through our eyes, through our ears, through, like,
oh
just
yeah,
through our being, that
senses,
sometimes we're not
Yeah.
even aware of how much that we are receiving. So I love that. Well, I can't wait to hear more about that as you continue. I know it's hard. It's a hard question to ask someone when they're still in the beginning parts of taking their course. I'm studying integrated somatic trauma therapy right now myself. So it's a little hard to, I'm like, okay, so this is a year-long program and I'm just starting it. And so I can tell you this. I can tell you what attracted me to it, but it's
Yeah.
hard to give the bigger picture. Well, I look forward to us all being recipients of that when we move along and things like that. Well, Rhonda, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, well, thank you so much. Thanks for coming and hanging out and spending time with us, and just sharing a little bit about what you're doing and how you got into it, and some of the things for people to expect, because I know sometimes people can feel a little bit nervous to go to something. And if you find your way to a drum circle and it's with Rhonda or someone like Rhonda, I promise that you will be so happy that you did. And you may have anxiety to walk in a room that you haven't walked in before, and you may feel nervous to pick something out and to start, but I promise that about 2 minutes in, all that falls away and you're just enjoying it and balancing and harmonizing and centering and all those things that our body craves, and that the world is sort of working in the opposite of these days.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. And it's so easy. And that's what I think I really want people to know, whether it's Qigong, and I do have a free intro online class on September 17th that people
Ooh.
can sign up for. Yeah. So, and I'm going to do, I will be doing an online, like a 6-week session after the intro class.
Oh, beautiful. Oh my
People from
goodness.
anywhere can join me. Yeah, and it's so Qigong is fantastic. It has helped me with, I live with fibro and osteoarthritis, and it has been a game changer for me, for that, especially with those, and going through menopause. Let's talk about that.
Right.
So all that entailed, yeah, so the Qigong has been very instrumental in helping me with that. So I am doing a free online September 17th that people can just email me and can sign up for that. I'm gonna do it on Zoom. Yeah, yeah.
Oh my
But
gosh,
it's
it's
so
gonna be
easy.
wonderful. I'll make sure that this is out before then so people
Thank
can, so
you.
yeah, that would be wonderful.
Thank you.
I would imagine I'll be in that myself.
I hope so.
Yeah, that's great.
Oh,
Well, Rhonda,
you.
thank you so much.
My
Thanks for
pleasure.
coming and hanging out and telling us about the wonder that is you. And
Thank you for
yeah,
having me.
yeah.
I'm super grateful. And so and you know me, you know that I get so nervous. And this, I've said no so many times to doing a podcast. And thank you. Thank you for not giving up on me. You didn't give up on me,
No.
and you have supported me and encouraged me
Mm,
and believed in me, and I'm so, so grateful. Thank you.
thanks. Right back at you, baby.
Much love.
Much
Much
love.
love.
Well, this is Allie, and thank you so much, Rhonda, from Balanced Energy Wellness, Drumming and Qigong, for being a guest today. And for our listeners, thanks so much for hanging out. I know that you will be taking nuggets away from here today, and I just really appreciate that. Tune in. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and you can check out in the notes in the show notes. There'll be some information on how to get a hold of Rhonda and to take her class with us, and to take different classes, and to maybe get a hold of her and have a drum circle in your own home. And she's traveling. She's doing wonderful
I
things.
do.
Oh, absolutely. So take good care and see you next time. And as always, find your joy. Thanks so much for joining me today. If you found a piece of your joy in this episode, I would love to hear about what came up for you so that we can continue to grow the impact of this show. Thanks again. See you soon. And remember, find your joy.